we've started. Let's start with what we have, please. A very good afternoon. Welcome to Africa Today. I am Peace Ogenegbawe. First, let's talk the headlines. FG declares Friday, Monday as Easter holiday. ECOWAS EOM expresses concerns over Senegal MFDC clash. Over 5,000 debtors owe 10 FG agencies 4.67 trillion naira. And on sport, Onumono Ajibade on target against Olympic champions. Now the news in detail. Nigeria's federal government has declared Friday and Monday as public holidays in commemoration of this year's Easter celebrations. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, announced the holiday on behalf of the federal government on Tuesday in Abuja. In a statement made known by Dr. Shuaib Belgo, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, who issued this on behalf of Aregbesola, urged Christians to emulate the attributes of sacrifice, togetherness, forgiveness, kindness, love, peace, and patience, which were the attributes and practices of Jesus Christ as exemplified by his ministry on earth. Aregbesola also called on Christians and all Nigerians alike to use the occasion of this year's Easter celebration to pray for an end to all security challenges bedeviling every part of the country. The minister further assured that the federal government will leave no stone unturned to ensure that the recent attacks by undesirable elements on the highways, airports, and railways are timely brought to an end. The national chairman of the ruling All Progressives Congress, that is APC, Abdullahi Adamu, and the deputy national chairman, North Senator Abubakar Kyari, has formally resigned their membership of the Senate. The resignation letters of Adamu and Kyari were read at plenary today by the President of the Senate, Senator Ahmad Lawan, before their emergence as APC leaders. Both Adamu and Kyari represented Nasarawa East, Nasarawa West, and Borno North Senatorial District of the Nasarawa and Borno states respectively. Lawan has also announced that the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, invitation to members of the Senate APC caucus to iftar at today evening at his official residence, Aguda House, in the State House. The governor of Plateau State, Simon Bako Lalong, has expressed deep regret over the dastardly act, hence directed security forces to dominate the area after their initial response, which put a stop to the carnage. This was stated in a press statement issued by the Director of Press and Public Affairs to the governor, Makut Simon Macham, in Jos Plateau State. According to him, The number of dead bodies in the bush is still unknown. Same with the numbers of houses razed. He also disclosed that many injured victims were admitted in the General Hospital and Jos University Teaching Hospital, JUTH. A resident from one of the affected communities in Kanam Local Government Council of the Plateau State claimed that the gunmen that attacked the Kokawa, Gyambawu, Dongo, Kiaram, Yelwa, Dada, Wanka, Shuwaka, Gamnadaji, and Dadinkowa villages on Sunday killed 74 persons. When the news returns, news from other parts of West Africa. Just stay with us. This is Africa Today, and on Hills TV, at least 60 people have been killed in the space of a week in Ituri, one of the 25 provinces of the Democratic Republic of Congo, that is a DRC, by assailants who looted homes and shops. This was revealed by the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, that is OCHA, in its midday briefing on Monday, where it also revealed that 20 civilians had been killed. Various media reports on Ituri say an estimated 1.9 million people in the province are internally displaced people because of violent attacks that are also directed at refugee camps for the IDPs. Meanwhile, the World Food Programme said in a statement that since the clashes, they had started distributing high-energy biscuits to some 6,500 civilians in North Kivu and had also pre-positioned 30 tons of food for distribution. And now to Ghana, where the Ghana Education Service, that is the GES, has debunked rumors of introducing a new uniform for teachers in public schools. The Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Opoku Amankwa, in an interview urged the public to dismiss such reports. He said when the Education Service makes a decision, it doesn't go to show on social media immediately. It would also be recalled that former public teacher Kwadwo shared some photos of some women wearing a brown outfit purported to be the new uniform set to be introduced by Ghana Education Service for all public schools during the weekend. ECOWAS Election Observation Mission, that is the EOM, has raised concerns on the deadly Casamance clash between the Democratic Movement of Casamance, a separative movement, and the Senegalese armed forces, which has left thousands of Gambians who lived around villages bordering Casamance internally displaced around the Fornies. The ECOWAS EOM preliminary statement on elections findings, which was read by Mohammed Ibn Chambas to media professionals on Monday, states that the EOM, however, remains concerned about the clashes between the Senegalese ECOMIG troops and the Movement of Democratic Forces of Casamance, which is the MFDC. This has led to the displacement of thousands of Gambians along the border communities, specifically in the Forni region close to Election Day. The emergent situation, which left many stranded as they uncomfortably sought refuge in neighboring villages, made it hard and perhaps almost impossible for Gambians living around the border to Casamance to cast their votes in the parliamentary election. The mission added that the situation in the Casamance region continued to highlight the plight of internally displaced persons. You're still on to Africa Today on Hills TV. We move to other parts of Africa after this break. Do stay with us. You're welcome back. Ethiopia government has allowed Boeing 737 MAX airplanes back to its airspace, and this is according to the aviation regulator, 3 years after one of its national carrier jets crashed shortly after takeoff from Addis Ababa. All 149 passengers and 8 crew members aboard the Ethiopian Airlines flight from the Ethiopian capital to Nairobi in Kenya died. The Ethiopian Civil Aviation Authority, that is ACA, said it lifted the ban after being satisfied with improvements in the plane's design and the airline's pilot's training program. The United States Federal Aviation Administration, that is FAA, cleared the planes to resume flights in November 2020, but ordered mandatory pilot training and modification of flight computer. And now to South Africa, where the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, has condemned the killing of Elvis Nyathi in South Africa's Diepsloot, describing it as immoral, racist, and criminal. In a statement shared on the president's website, Ramaphosa urged people to fight crime, the common enemy, not foreigners, contrary to what is claimed by some anti-immigration groupings and individuals. The SA president said the perpetrators of crime are both black and white, male and female, foreigner and citizen, stressing that crime, not migrant, is the common enemy and country must work together to defeat them.
Since our last meeting,
meanwhile,
there have been developments in the theater of operation. There have been notable successes.
Meanwhile, countries that are contributing military personnel to the SADC mission in Mozambique has joined a Southern African Development Community Extraordinary Organ Trioca Summit of the South African member states. South Africa's President and Chairperson, SADC Organ on Politics, Security, Defense Cooperation, Cyril Ramaphosa, while declaring the virtual meeting open, commended those present for their commitment in fighting insecurity in Mozambique, as well as condoled with member states whose military personnel paid the supreme price in the fight.
Since our last meeting, there have been developments in the theater of operation. There have been notable successes in the operations of SAMIM, and at the same time some challenges. I equally appreciate and commend member states for having deployed personnel and equipment in support of our work in Mozambique. We have also received reports about casualties suffered by SAMIM and the Mozambican Defense Force. At this moment, I wish to extend our deepest condolences to the governments of Botswana, Lesotho, United Republic of Tanzania, Mozambique, and my own government, South Africa, for the demise of our sons who were lost in the line of duty. We also extend our best wishes for the speedy recovery of those who were wounded in action.
We now move to business news after this break. Welcome back. Ghana's Ministry of Finance is collaborating with the Public Procurement Authority, that is the PPA, to link the Ghana Integrated Financial Management Information System, that is GIF-MIS, to the public sector procurement processes. This is to be done using the Ghana Electronic Procurement System, that is GHANEPS, an electronic procurement platform designed to automate procurement within the public sector. Representing the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, at the recent launch of the Public Financial Management Compliance League table, observed that the major fiscal challenge facing public institutions was commitment control, where agencies could commit government without the appropriate budgetary allocation. He, however, said the ministry would ensure value for money on all government projects, especially those conducted under sole source procurement. Still in the news, Nigeria's federal government has disclosed that over 5,000 debtors currently owe its agency about 4.67 trillion naira. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, made this disclosure on Monday, saying the government had in the past 18 months recovered 53.8 billion naira out of the 5.2 trillion naira owed by 10 ministries, departments and agencies, that is MDAs. Ahmed noted that in a bid to optimize revenue, the ministry had in 2017 introduced the Project Lighthouse to mine data from multiple sources to support the implementation of the Voluntary Asset and Income Declaration Scheme. The federal government of Nigeria, in a report seen in Abuja on Monday, showed that the collapse of Nigeria's electricity grid actually occurred twice, on Friday and Saturday last week, despite concerted efforts to stabilize the power system. Data from the Federal Ministry of Power showed that the quantum of electrical aid 2022 to as low as 10 megawatts around 21 hours same day. Also, another collapse of the national grid occurred on Saturday, April 9, 2022, as the nation's power system collapsed from 33 megawatts around 100 hours after it had earlier posted a peak generation of 3,281.50 megawatts. According to reports, the collapse of Nigeria's electricity grid had continued amidst efforts to halt the recurrent issue. Last month, the national grid collapsed twice within a space of 2 days, a development that made the federal government of Nigeria summon a meeting of stakeholders to address the issue. And now to Kenya, where Kenya plans a double tax on foreign tech giants which use the internet to market and sell products, and is a signal that Nairobi is hardening a stance against the US-backed global minimum rate on multinationals. Kenya's Treasury proposed to increase digital tax services, which is DST, to 3% of the gross value of online transactions in the financial year starting July, from the current 1.5% through the Finance Bill 2022. The Kenyan Revenue Authority, that is the KRA, has identified foreign firms which derive income in Kenya through digital marketplaces, selling exclusively online or providing platforms for such deals, as a major driver of tax receipts in a highly digitalizing global economy. Kenya, alongside Nigeria, Pakistan and Sri Lanka, withheld its vote on US-fronted global minimum corporate tax at the rate of 15% under the Paris-based Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which is the OECD. Still to come, sport news on Africa Today. Just stay with us.
Good evening and welcome to Sports News on World Now at 4. I am Aidnan Lubem. Nigeria's Super Falcons finished off their tour of Canada for the two-legged friendly matches ahead of the Africa Women's Nations Cup in Morocco in the early hours of today, as they were held to a 2-2 draw by the Canadians at the Starlight Stadium in Langford. Ifeoma Onumonu and Rashidat Ajibade secured the goal for the Nigerian side, who lost to the same opponent 2-0 in Vancouver 3 days ago. But strikes from Christine Sinclair and a late equalizer from Shelina Zadowski denied Randy Waldrum's ladies a win against the Olympic champions. The Falcons started strongly with defensive organization and soon went into the lead through Ifeoma Onumonu Chiki's back-heeled effort from a Tony Payne corner kick with 5 minutes played. Ahead of the 2023 African Cup of Nations draw that will take place next week, Zimbabwe's Warriors will not be a part of the teams that will go into the heart as the country continues to pay the price for poor administration. In a press statement released by CAF during the weekend, the Cairo-based organization also announced the dates for the CHAN qualifiers draw. The draw for the tournament reserved for players playing their football in their country of birth will be held on April 28. The qualifiers for the CHAN Games will then commence. Zimbabwe was suspended by FIFA and will not take part in any international competition. The FIFA punishment, although misguided, was in response to the Sports Commission's suspension of the Zimbabwe Football Association, that is ZIFA board, as they sought to find solutions to problems affecting the administration of Zimbabwe's football. Spanish Segunda Division side Almeria has picked up their first victory in 3 games to see them gain promotion to the elite division, that is Spanish La Liga. Super Eagles striker Sadiq Umar, who was instrumental in the victory, scored the first goal for Almeria in their 3-0 thrashing of Ponferradina. The Rojiblancos were looking to return to winning ways after a couple of poor. Almeria put the final nail in their visitors' coffin in stoppage time as Ingo Eguaras pushed their third to help Almeria to a comfortable 3-0 victory. The win takes Almeria to second place on the Segunda Division table, 1 point behind Eibar, as Umar's strike was his 16th goal of the season. And that's your sports news on World Now at 4. Back to Peace for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Lubem, for that sport news. Now to the rest of the bulletin. Reports have indicated that late Gambian ambassador to the United States, Dauda Fadera, had died of infection. The report added that the coroner found no evidence of poisoning or other unlawful conduct causing the death. Fadera died on February 20, 2022, whilst admitted as a patient at a small teaching hospital in Banjul, Gambia. The inquest commenced on March 2, 2022 and concluded on March 31, 2022. The coroner submitted her report to the Chief Justice of the nation on April 1, 2022. It examined 10 witnesses, including the pathologist and staff of the hospital, an independent medical expert, as well as family members of the deceased, visited the hospital and revealed relevant documents such as the post-mortem report and the hospital file of the deceased. The report has since been forwarded to the Attorney General of Gambia and the medical authorities in Gambia. And that's Africa Today. But before we go, here are the headlines again. We told you that the federal government of Nigeria has declared Friday, Monday as Easter holidays. The ECOWAS EOM has expressed concerns over Senegal MFDC clash. We also brought to you that over 5,000 debtors is still owing 10 federal government agencies. To visit us on Facebook at Hills TV, Instagram at Hills TV. Our YouTube channel is at Hills TV. I am Peace Ogenegba.